At the age of 16, I became a liquid millionaire, and yes, an actual millionaire. I'm not talking about revenue to clickbait you, and to prove it wasn't luck, I went on to build another 7-figure year business at the age of 20. This video is going to cover my entire journey and highlight every single business model that I've tried on my path to millions. I truly believe my story is unlike any other self-made millionaires that you've seen here on YouTube, so let's rewind to see where it all began. So I grew up in a pretty small town in Texas, like 30 minutes outside of Houston, closer to the side of Galveston. So you have like Houston, you have Galveston, which is the beach, and then you have kind of where I was in the middle, a place called Friendswood. And I was a pretty active kid growing up. So I played baseball, I played gymnastics, I got into trampoline and tumbling, I even dabbled into BMX, and then also a bit of pit bike riding or like motocross. One of the things that I always loved was trying to find ways that like I could somehow make money on my own, not have to rely on any savings that I would have or any like random side quests that I would do that would like make me money, like side hustles essentially. Going through baseball, I wanted to have like a nicer bat than everybody else, and so I'll try and save money from like Christmas, from holidays, from like birthdays, like from my family, because I was pretty young around the time. I spent a bunch of time finding side hustles that would allow me to buy the $100 bat, $200 bat, whether it was as simple as like picking up trash around the house, doing some chores for my parents. One funny thing is, and it sounds weird, but I swear it's not, my dad would pay me $20 for a back massage, and so like every time I would give him a back massage, I'm like $20, and then I would just basically stash that in my shoebox upstairs, as ironic as it is. So that's kind of like what I did as a kid. So like Q2, Q3 2017 is around the time that I got into wanting to make more money for myself. I didn't want to rely on like the small amount of money that my parents would give me for like food or Sonic. Obviously I'm young, so I couldn't really go anywhere, but I was big into fitness, I was big into working out, and I wanted to like start posting myself online, like kind of getting out in the world. Around the summertime in 2017, I was like big into photography and videography, asking my parents for a camera for Christmas or whatever money that I had saved up. I also used that to like purchase camera equipment, and I was big into film, big into like studying Sundance Film Festival, all the films that would get into the like short films, all the nominees and stuff like that. So it was always a passion of mine. And I signed my first client. My dad helped me with this. It was a golf cart company called CKD Golf Carts. I posted 8 videos, and that client was $750. It was only 8 videos because the person in the video was my dad, and then one of the people that worked at the office, it was a lady, and she actually ended up passing away. So we stopped the videos, but they wanted more, and I don't even know what I was doing, but I just wanted to focus more on shoes. I was like 13 years old, and I was buying and selling sneakers. Around 2017, that's whenever I got big into Yeezys. One of the shoes that's like more prominent for me was black Yeezy V2 Oreo. I would like buy one shoe because I didn't have that much money. So I'd buy one shoe for $220. I'd sell it on OfferUp, Basic Marketplace. I would sell it on both of those for like $280 or $320, depending on whatever they buy it at. I basically split tested the prices. My most common price was like $280. This is funny, and so how I would sell it, since I couldn't go anywhere or drive anywhere, I would have my friend come with me that lived in my neighborhood. We would walk to our neighborhood pool, like the small pool next to like a lake that was, or like little pond, and I would have people meet me there, and he would have like a little machete on him or like an axe. We would never even use this, but it was just like peace of mind, like, oh yeah, we got an axe on us if they try and do anything stupid, which they couldn't see at the time. And it was a pretty safe community too, so I trusted my neighbors, and my friend lived like right across the street, so like if anything happened to us, like kidnapped, we'd be safe. But I would meet people at the pool. They give me $280 or $320, whichever it was. I give them the shoes, and then we go out on our way. And then I remember my last sale with that I had was this guy who pulled up. He just like reeked of weed. Super sketchy guy, and I thought he was gonna rob me for a second because the way like he acted and like the stuff he was saying. So he wanted to look at the shoes and then like take them out and like feel them and stuff, make sure that they were real, but like I had the receipt to prove and to show him. And so I was kind of sussed out because nobody's asked me that prior. So he looked at both of the shoes, had both of them, and then he wanted to like negotiate pricing. I got him to like $280. That whole ordeal, I was like super sus because I was young. I was like 13 years old, and I was like, you know what, probably shouldn't be doing this. And I had a decent amount of money saved from like reselling shoes, so I kind of like ended it there at that last sale. And then late 2017 is a prominent year for me, prominent time, because that's whenever I discovered like, whoa, I'm posting on Instagram, this stuff is going like pretty viral. And it was like random like meme pages and like organic theme pages, luxury travel, luxury lifestyle, random stuff. And like I would even go on Pinterest and like download photos and post them on these Instagram accounts. But I was like, I'm kind of onto something. Like my accounts were going viral. I was doing pretty well, and people were hitting me up for like promos and stuff. So people are definitely monetizing this kind of stuff. And I don't even think I did any promos. I just saw what they're sending me, like, and how much money they wanted to send me. So I was like, okay, there's clearly something behind this. I was like, why not just dabble into trying to make my own online store? Honestly, I don't even know how I discovered Shopify, but I was like just doing a lot of digging, a lot of research, and I just discovered Shopify like 2017. And I was like, I gotta build a website. And I swear to God, the most basic website on the like basic theme with the most basic product photos that I would either take myself or just download from like Google search water bottle, whatever. It was like random products that I found on AliExpress or Alibaba. I found a product that was trending at the time and I was like, okay, I'm gonna buy the product on Amazon. It's gonna come here in a few days, make my own videos. So that way I can post more and more. So that way I wasn't just like ripping other people's content. The videos weren't super viral, but it was good enough to where it would start getting me sales. I wasn't spending any money on ads at the time. So like my margins were like a little bit higher, but I didn't understand pricing like whatsoever. So my pricing was set to like maybe like 20% margin, if that. And keep in mind, I'm not running any ads. So if a product costs me like $5, I'm selling it for like not even $10. I still vividly remember my first month, and this was like November 2017. I did $66,000 in sales. And I was like, holy crap, my margins were awful. Like I was barely making any money, but it was enough to where I could just continue growing my store and continue growing my theme pages. So the next month I kept continuing it. That product died off. So then I made a new website. That product was like $127,000 or like around like 100K. I was like, holy crap. I doubled my revenue with a brand new product. And this time I was actually making like really good money. And then basically all of 2018 was spent finding products, launching it, finding pages, launching them on the pages, buying pages, selling pages. And I know that I ended that year like very, very strong. And I'd say like, I think I made like 500K that year. I don't remember exactly, which I probably should. The next year, so 2018, I was basically just doing this all like the same thing that I did in 2017, like late 2017, just pages, products, testing, products die out. I start trends and stuff. And then 2019 comes around and this was like kind of like the peak moment of like my whole career so far in dropshipping. E-commerce was doing really, really well. I was getting on trends very, very quickly. And I was even starting trends. I got really big on Pinterest, and one of my Pinterest profiles had like over 10 million monthly visits, which is freaking insane because I'm also 15. I'm running these massive pages on Instagram. I'm running these massive pages on Pinterest, getting all these organic sales. And one thing that I did was I got into Facebook ads. And not only that, I also got into Google ads because I was like, how can I make more money with this? And I realized like, oh, Facebook has this option to run ads for freaking videos. I knew about marketing already. And I was like, I have to do this. So Facebook, I launched my first Facebook ad literally on my phone. It was like boosting this post, boosting this profile. I don't even remember what it was, but like the most basic stuff where you just attach a link to it. A stock photo from freaking AliExpress, attach a link to it, run into my website. And I swear to God, overnight, my sales like tripled. I was like, holy crap, I spent like $50 a day because I didn't know what I was doing. And then I got more into it. I started launching them on my computer. I started getting into like analytics, CVR, click-through rate. I started getting into, okay, so if I spend $50, how much can that make me? Then I got into like return on ad spend, stuff like that. So it was like, for every $1 I spend, how much can I make back? And how can I maximize that? Because yes, I had a decent amount of money, but I didn't want to feel like I had a lot of money. I wanted to still have that like broke mindset, as in I need to keep working and make more and more money. So I got into Facebook ads, Google ads, and I was like, wait a minute, I'm seeing really good success. And I was like, how can I apply this to other businesses? Because now that I have ads, I'm making more money, but less money. Because now I have like expenses, now I have overhead, stuff like that. And so my profit margin didn't really increase because now I'm spending money for ads. So now it's like a little bit lower. And then at some point, the product I was running around 2019 ended up starting to taper off closer to like October of 2019. But at that time, I had the most money that I ever had in my life. Like my store was tapering off, and then I was like, okay, so this obviously isn't like super sustainable. Yes, I'm making like a lot of money, but I'm constantly having to like retest and remake all these different websites and products and like just launch different creatives on this page, launch this page. There's a lot of work involved. And I was like, how can I apply this to another business? So like in 2017, whenever I had my little freelance videography, I say agency, I was basically just like an independent contractor. I was like, okay, so I did an agency model already for a golf cart company making videos on golf carts. Why not try this for other businesses? Because I've already done it before. So a client pays me $750 a month and I run basic like Facebook ads and Google ads for them. That's whenever I was like, okay, I can turn this into something. And I actually, my first client that I signed, I still have him to this day, crazy enough. And I was doing really well with them. They were making money, I was making money, and I was like, I gotta figure this stuff out, see how I can like grow my client base, because there's always like a lot of money in this. And the one thing that kind of like really grabbed my attention was the margins. I was like, all right, late 2019, I had the most money I've ever had. I was kind of chilling on e-commerce. My stores were just running on autopilot because everything was automated for fulfillment. Orders come in, I pay the invoice, and that's pretty much it. Didn't really have to do much with the creatives. I had ads running at the time too. 2019 was also a prominent year because I had some really, really good products around this time too, because I launched them late 2019 after one of my other products was like dying out. So I launched a new product and then also launched my agency too. 2020 comes around and oh my God, what a year this was. 2020 was a crazy year for pretty much anybody in e-commerce. It started out really hectic because of the pandemic. Everybody's shutting down. I'm out of school. Basically the rest of the year was the craziest time of like my e-commerce journey. Honestly, I already had brands, I already had pages, and I basically had these platforms that I would post my products to and run ads to. And luckily enough, I just struck gold. Everybody was at home. They're bored, they're lazy, they're shopping online. Traffic went up like thousands and thousands % on like every single website, Amazon, literally anywhere. Views on TikTok, views on Instagram, views on Snapchat, everything went crazy. Not only that, but e-commerce sales. E-commerce was booming. Even though we're in a crazy pandemic, sales online were booming. Nobody was going to stores because they were shut down. People were like wearing masks, social distancing, stuff like that. Online was booming. I took advantage of this and I did everything that I could to make as much money as possible. I believe it was like 2019 rolling into 2020 whenever I hit my first like 7 figures in a bank account. Those were like the times where I was making like the most money that I've ever made in my life, essentially like in months. And like it was like 100K, 200K, 300K. And this is sales. Like it wasn't net, but I was making a lot of money. And I know that like I had like $1,002 combined, and I was like, holy crap. And then I had to pay for like a bunch of ads, and then I had to pay for a bunch of products. So then it went down, and I was like, well, crap, I gotta work even harder to like bring it back up to over $1 million. But technically I was like a millionaire as a very young kid. And so I kept building and building and building. I didn't only launch my agency, didn't only launch my winning products that I had for 2020, but also I got into something called Ethereum. Ethereum was at the time like $200. I spent a lot of money on Ethereum, basically almost all the money that I had, but I was building it back up very quickly. Around October 2020, this was a very prominent time. My first car was a Mazda 6. Traded that in, had $14,000 in equity, went towards a Camaro SS, and then sold the Camaro. And then I bought my dream car at the time, which was an Audi S7. Amazing car. And I was like, I'm already online. Why not build my own automotive store? The margins were ridiculous, 60 to 80% on orders that were over $1,000. I'm onto something with this. So I launched my store called Foreign Pipes and basically built it off of the platform that I bought. So my car was an Audi S7, 4-liter twin turbo. And there was only so many upgrades that you could do for this car. But I loved it so much and I wanted to modify my car on a budget. So I had my downpipes, I removed them. I took photos on my phone, I 3D scanned them, I shipped my downpipes and cats to China. They basically created like this CAD model of this downpipe that would work for my car. I had 2 designs, and so these 2 designs were like finalized, and I had placed my order of 100 units. And so I kept some in China, I kept some in Houston. I can put inventory here, inventory there, parents' house, office, apartment, and then also inventory in China. And I launched a Facebook group. I was already active enough in the Facebook groups to know enough, knew all the manufacturers, knew all the big companies that I would target and undercut their pricing, and I launched my own. I was so successful with this because I was undercutting the market. I was ranking #1 on Google search for every single one of my products. My main strategy was basically just outbidding every single competitor if they were even running ads. My products were basically an instant success. I sold out my products very, very quickly, and then I wanted to quickly expand. That was like one of my bigger stores that I had. My first year running it did $3.5 million in sales, and it was like crazy for me because it was super, super high margins, and that only just increased basically my net worth like even more. That's like fast forwarding into 2021. My agency was doing well. I believe I had maybe 10 to 15 clients. It was real estate investors, wholesaling companies, law firms, supplement companies, so much more that I had. And I was like kind of just testing different markets to see what I could do. I even had gyms at sometimes. Around May 2021, I ended up graduating high school. So I went from online school in March. I was online school for like the whole next 12 months. I got into this online school program where if I got a lot of work done in a short time frame, it would graduate like way earlier. So I was class of 2021, but I was supposed to be class of 2022. So that was like a big milestone. I wanted to drop out so bad, but my mom persisted in me staying in school, so I ended up staying in school. And I'm so happy I did because now I don't have a GED, I have a diploma from going to school. All throughout 2021, I continued working on my e-com stores and also growing my agency, but I was trying to do like 50-50 e-com, agency. I had sold my Audi, bought a Supra, immediately took out the downpipe. I scanned it, sent it off to my company, remade it, and then I had a downpipe that was shipped back to me, and I had installed it on my car. Once again, I launched a Facebook group and I was already active in the Supra world. The same story goes, I undercut the market significantly and that took off. Basically the same situation for my Audi that I did with the Supra world, and I took over that world too. 2021 e-commerce was also very strong. Stimulus checks were coming out. My agency was doing stronger than ever, and there was a lot of money floating around in the market. For some of my brands, jewelry brands specifically, that I was running, like managing as a client, they were going crazy because people had these $1,200 $2,500, $5,000 checks they were getting from the government. And once again, they're still at home. They haven't like returned back to their jobs yet. They were just spending more online. So 2020 was huge. 2021 was also a very strong year. I milked the stimulus. I had that in every single like ad copy that I had. I continued building my company, continued building my automotive company as well. And then going into 2022, I turned June, July, I was like, I need to like get my own spot that's in my name and kind of like take full responsibility of like my whole life essentially. So I moved out to an apartment in Houston. I was a 2-bedroom with an office. It was like $3,000 a month. At 18, that's pretty significant, I'd say. So I had my Supra that was like fully built, 900 horsepower, big turbo on a tire. And then I had my BMW M5 that I bought in September 2022. Once again, same story. I took off the parts, I cat everything. I didn't spend as much time on that car because I actually wanted to get away from retail. I ran into like a lot of fraudulent chargebacks for my customers, even though I have like significant proof of delivery, significant proof of installment, and I just saw that it was just too high risk, especially for like the Audi world and BMW world, because the worst community to be in, they're super toxic, super annoying. So I ended up getting away from the retail world for a while and focused a lot more on wholesale. And that's still running to this day actually. And then again, obviously like took over the M5 world and did a lot of wholesale parts with the clients that I was working with. So I actually ended up signing shops underneath my agency for marketing and also for wholesale. So it was like killing 2 birds with 1 stone essentially. 2022 finishes. It was once again kind of like a repeat of 2021. I was focusing a lot more on my agency now because my pipes were pretty much fully automated and I really wanted to take e-commerce to the next step. November 2022, I signed Mentality. My good friend Jason owns it and I was running their Google ads. This was like one of my bigger name clients essentially because they're like a huge Instagram following and pretty big name behind them. I was running their stuff for like a decent time and then I became really good friends with the owner. That was a pretty significant thing that I had in my wing and it was like a good selling point for like my agency and running Google ads for people. And so December 2nd, I went to my friend Luca and Peter's mixer, Luca, Peter, and Faz. They were hosting this mixer and Luca is the owner of Pudgy Penguins, very prominent name in the space, in the NFT space and the crypto space. And I was like, all right, I got this agency. I'm making good amount of money from this. I have some pretty strong clients. I'm gonna go there, network. I'm gonna talk with like a lot of people there, meet some friends. And I swear to God, this is like one of the mixers, one of the networking events that like made so many people. I'm not gonna say this made me, but I signed a lot of clients that night that I still work with to this day as well. I have like some amazing friends that I met from that night. 2023 comes around. I sent an email to a client, a pretty big client. I didn't even get a response, I don't think, but I was like going out on a whim to email them in hopes of making something work. Luckily, I was also into watch flipping and I had also known athletes of this company and I was already like pretty well trusted with the guys. I had also sold a watch to the owner of this company, like actually a couple watches previously. And so they already kind of knew who I was. And so fast forward into March 2023, I signed my biggest brand at the time, Young LA. Young LA, they were doing very, very strong numbers. They are a 9-figure company a year. And I was like, holy crap, I don't know how I just did that. This is whenever like I signed them and everything went up a notch. I was making more money because I signed them on a very nice retainer with my business partner, Charlie, who we work on like similar accounts together and we share the same clients. It was a freaking huge deal for me because I grew up from fitness, like loving this company, Young LA, knew everything about them, knew all their athletes, was really good friends with them. I used to go out in the clubs with them, go party with them. It was like the time of my life. And then like I ended up going from Houston to Scottsdale. I literally drove my car from Houston, basically packed up all my stuff, moved out of my apartment, and I still had it. I had an Airbnb for a month. And I was like, I'm loving it here. My business partner is here. I'm living in Scottsdale now. And I just kept working harder and harder than ever before. March finishes. It's coming around April, I'm signing more clients. And then once again, May, signing more clients. It was a really strong year for me because I had not only my e-commerce store, but also my agency. And I ended up netting over $5 million that year with just my agency and then also like another $1 million from e-commerce. But my focus more was on my agency because I was like growing bigger than ever. And I just wanted to continue to pursue this because the margins also were very, very strong because obviously there's really no overhead besides employee cost. Q4 2023 was an amazing time. I had Black Friday for all my brands. It was like the biggest month I've ever had in my life, November and December. And I was like, holy crap, this is something that like I really need to take serious, even more than I'm doing it now. And I wanted to be in Los Angeles closer to where my clients work. And I think at the time I had like over 100 clients at this point. I've really grown. I've run ads. I've done a lot of referrals and a lot of networking events that I've gone through. Right before Black Friday, I got a house in Beverly Hills. Everything was just kept going up and up. January comes around. It just felt like a movie because every single day was like the best day ever. Driving both my cars in the canyons. I'm going to eat at like the best restaurants with my friends. We're playing car roulette at every single dinner. But it was just like the best time ever. Like it was with like my close friends, and I can't thank them more for like the time that I had with them because it was such an amazing time. One day specifically stands out. It was January 9th. I sent out a message to somebody, and this somebody is a pretty well-known figure on YouTube for his car collection, and that man happens to be Steve Hamilton. I signed Steve Hamilton after leaving a Utah trip. I was in the Salt Lake City, Utah airport. I hop on a meeting in a freaking call box, and I signed Steve Hamilton on the spot. Basically took one brand. He wanted to test me with that, and then it grew into another brand, and another brand. So shortly after that, I get back to LA, and I was like on another high because I was like, this is so fun. Not only do I have an amazing freaking clothing brand that I'm working with, I also have one of my favorite channels on YouTube. This is the best thing ever. I get back to LA, and the first thing that I do is I go into McLaren, I walk in, I say I want to buy a car. They say, okay, what kind of car do you want to buy? They didn't have the one that I wanted at the time, but they were like, we have a new one coming out. Why don't you come in this room with us or build it with us? We walk in, and I start speccing my dream car. I left that day with like the full build sheet, the MSRP and everything, timelines, timeframes, and I sent a deposit for that car the day after. I waited like 6 months to get any information back. I sent like my final message in May, like May 17th to be exact. And I was like, look, I haven't heard anything back from you guys. I know you guys don't have any timeframes yet because it's McLaren. The day that I wanted to cancel my order is whenever they actually sent me my VIN number. And I was like, well, I'm already going through this cancellation, and I wanted to get my money back from what I paid. I've already submitted like my order request to be canceled, and I already was open to buying other cars at the time too. And then I stumbled across the car that I currently have, which is my 2018 Ferrari 488 GTB. Pretty much instantly I was like, all right, this thing is cool, but I want to develop my own parts for this. So I literally took out my downpipes. I'd had photos of them, got them developed, got the parts back to me, and then like within probably like a month, I had downpipes already installed in my car. Sounds absolutely amazing. It even shoots flames too now, which is pretty cool. I bought it in June, and then I made the split decision in September, mid-September, to actually move to Arizona full-time again. And so I ended up giving up my room on October 1st. And so now I'm full-time back in Arizona, back to Lock-in City, back to where all my real friends are, my true family, my church friends are, and really just focused on one thing, and that one thing is work right now. Besides that, obviously I'm focused on God, my faith, focused on supporting my family, focused on my mental health, my physical health, and like really maximizing my current routine so that way I can maximize my revenue. On top of that, I've been secretly building a lot of softwares. I've launched a lot of softwares, and I want to do a hard launch of something new that I'm building. And so if you want to get like interested on what I've been building, what I'm launching, it basically applies to anybody that wants to get started with anything that I've done or discussed on this video. I highly suggest you sign up to my newsletter. I'll be sending out emails weekly or maybe daily if you get access, and you can kind of see what I'm talking about. I don't want to say too much, but it's 100% my biggest project that I've ever launched in my life. And I'm doing a secret launch on my email list only, which I promise you, this is one thing that you don't want to miss out, because it not only benefits you, but also it can really change the trajectory of your entire life. If this interests you, sign up to my newsletter, and then you'll be the first to find out on what I'm launching and when I'm launching it. And so my goal for this channel is to take everything that I've been silently working on for the past 4 years and bring it to the light of day. I don't ask for anything, but I'm asking you this one time. If you like the video, give it a like. If you want to follow along to see the rest of my journey and what I'm going to be posting, go ahead, hit the subscribe button, and also give me a comment on anything that you want to see for the future videos, or also how you felt about this one. Love you guys, and I will see you very soon.